LFA&BARBS.
All right, people, welcome again to Single Again with LFA and Bab. The last episode was very intriguing. I'm very sure that you enjoyed listening to the Clarity Doctor. The Clarity Doctor is home with us again, and today we'll be doing the home run. We'll be touching down on co-parenting.
Are we lucky?
Yes. During the last episode, we talked about blame game. We talked about self-discovery, trust, suspicion, wounding others and yourself. And we also, Timothy said something about going from blame to bloom. And that's really, rings a bell for me. And that, honestly, I'm going to write it everywhere. Even though I don't blame myself anymore, I don't hold anybody responsible. I believe that my divorce is what it is. Let's move on. I've moved on.
Yeah.
Look forward, look ahead. I've forgiven myself. It's a process, but I would definitely say I've forgiven myself and forgiven him, and I've moved on. But a lot of single again. And of course, Bobby's in the house, as usual.
That's fine. I'm waiting for your intro. So we'll get into it. We'll get into the co-parenting.
Yeah. And of course, we had Timothy. Timothy was just chiming in. Yep. Yeah. Co-parenting. Wow. That is one, depending on the way you divorce, that has been a struggle for a lot of single again folks. And that is something we will be diving into. How do we co-parent amicably, without struggling, without fighting each other again, without using curse words, without swearing at each other, without rolling eyes at each other? How do we do this amicably? Because we have to understand where I came from. They say when two elephants fight, guess who suffers? The grass. We all know that. And the kids in this stage, in this instance, are the grass. So,
wow.
Welcome, Single Again. Please like, share, subscribe. In the house we have...
It's me. I always love... No, it's Barbs. And I think it's, we've got our wonderful guest. And I think our previous episode, majority of the topics that Timothy talked about is really what we need going into co-parenting. So I think it's a right leading on to talking about this issue, because if your mind is not set, if you haven't got your vision, if you don't know what you hurt your children without really real. You actually hold off or become standoffish for no reason. You keep fighting for no reason because you're still blaming the other person. So I think it's very important that and let's not take it for granted. It's not immediately after the separation is when the co-parenting starts. So it is a process. It's a progression that you have to build on, because immediately after, everybody's upset, everybody's angry, who's feeling lost, who's feeling hard done by, who's feeling yes, I've taken the advantage, and emotions and behaviors are very different. But in the midst of that, the very next 24 hours, the co-parenting stuff. So it is where you are, is how you deal with it. But we hope we work through it. And then as Single Again people listening to this podcast, you pick a few nuggets and build yourself as you go.
Yeah.
When the blame game stops, definitely the children enjoy both parents and have an advantage.
Absolutely. That's Bab, and I know you probably are itching now to hear from Timothy, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and dive right into co-parenting from his perspective. Timothy.
Thank you so much. So again, my name is Timothy Moore, aka the Clarity Doctor. I help entrepreneurs and small businesses and startups go from blaming to blooming and from excuses to execution by creating a clear, concise, and compelling vision. So I go by the name of the Clarity Doctor because we all have to make sure that we are clear on our vision, and for those of us who have corrective sight, we understand that when our vision is blurry, when it's cloudy, when it's
We can't
foggy,
see.
when we have, we can have blind spots, we can forget our glasses,
Yes.
and without that clarity, we will hesitate. We'll be very unsure. We won't have confidence because we simply can't see. And so, just talking about co-parenting,
Yeah.
I definitely have, I'm currently in that journey, and
Good.
it's day by day. It's definitely gotten a lot better, especially the fact that since she has moved on and has remarried, it makes things a lot more peaceful now because she's in a better place and things like that. But wasn't always that way. I definitely feel like, just in my situation of what I've seen, women tend to feel a sense of entitlement when it comes to the children.
Oh no. Not a sense of entitlement.
But you can't speak for everyone.
I have to advocate for women.
Let me finish that.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, any statement is going to have
Definitely.
their exceptions. Of course, I understand that's not all women. From the worldview that I've had and that I've seen, that I've experienced from other men, when I look at statistics, especially in the state of Nebraska, it's a women's state. So when there's a divorce, everything automatically falls to the women's favor when it comes to kids. And men have to fight and scratch to get rights. So when I say that, I'm speaking from that worldview or perspective, that typically women feel like it's their entitlement to have full custody because they gave birth, you got that connection, and all these different things. And so typically women feel like it's just their right.
And I think to support you, Timothy, I think the law courts have also in the past favored.
Right, it's all connected. Right.
So I think.
And again, and again, I think you have to put into consideration some men. Some men could be abusive.
Well, and so to that point, there is the space where the immediate belief, I had the days, they're mine. That's one aspect.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's valid, the next aspect, you got to move on and say, well, what is the father like? But before we even get to that point, there's the assumption, I get him.
If I will have my way, I'd rather 50-50 because I don't want to.
Yes.
I mean, they are the old.
So you are a modern woman. You are a modern woman then, and at the end of the day, look, can you see when a single father has got his children? And the person who's society doesn't help this because if you ask, he's looking after his 4 children, and the question is, where's the mother? Oh, she took
Exactly.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Abandoned her
The stigma.
responsibility. However, if the woman says I'm a single, the whole world will draw to sympathize. So for me, I think I get what Timothy is saying. It is a society that we have grown up in. And of course, with time, there were times that even a man's, domestic abuse was not acknowledged.
It wasn't.
So I think, yes, it's a societal responsibility. But now, there is clarity, as we have the clarity that we have. But we are moving on. But it's still enshrined in our society. Yes. And I don't disagree with that at all. It is.
Yes. I love the way you put that. Enshrined in a society, and so, and I think, and I just, happen to have one of those who was particularly entitled to, that's my baby, and all that stuff. So there was a war when it came to co-parenting, when it, who say so, and it was difficult. There were some moments where I cried. I was like, but I had to just, say, God, you're going to have to to work this out, and I just got to take my hands off of it. And he did, as long as I backed away and didn't fight with her about the rights that I knew that I'm supposed to have, and I backed off, she came around. So I will say that in that process of co-parenting, again, you have to go inward and like your own anger, maybe even about the divorce, and not let that lead into the co-parenting. And so I could have taken the anger about it and then use that as more force when it came to me not getting what I felt I was due in the co-parenting, but I didn't. I had to stop myself and say, hey, if I don't get to see him, if I don't get this and this and this and this, well, I'll use that time for me.
Yes.
You're the one got to handle all that stuff.
Yes. And,
like,
and do you realize, you realize that sometimes even unforgiveness could make you resent that other parent and not even want to hear anything about the children from her or him, not even want to talk with him or her because of what he did, because of this, because of that.
So co-parenting is definitely, and I feel I've seen some horrible things. And my heart goes out to children who are suffering. Just recently had a situation where someone took their life, a child did, and it all has its impact. I'll just say that.
It does. I remember.
It gets the child torn between the two, doesn't it? And I think the one they live with and the one they don't live with, and then this one wasn't. So when you went, what was he doing, or what was she doing? Who comes in the house? Hey, you just said that statement. Who told you that? But if we live together, we will see that our child is picking up a language. Where is it coming from? And work on it. Instead of that, we want to quickly blame the other person before staying to that child. I don't think that's a good thing to say. And then do your parenting and explain to the child without bringing your ex-partner in. But because we have not got to the stage of where we agreed we are doing this together, we have to consciously agree we are doing this together for the benefit of the children. And if we do, it becomes, it's a lovable event. But where we're not, we are going to struggle. And then the children have such emotional trauma, that there's nothing you can do about it. So
how did you manage, Bab? How did you manage when you were co-parent?
Well, I think my husband was a consultant and traveled quite a lot. So when we traveled, when he's around, it's a luxury. But from day one, I had this belief that I didn't grow up with my father. And I feel it impacted on my relationships or how I perceive the man. So, and I've got 3 daughters. So my idea was never to withhold my children's father away from them. It doesn't matter what he's doing or not doing. That relationship, and I always say to them, you have to, because they saw some of the negativity or the difficulties or some of the things that he did to me because of the physical abuse. And, I'll say to them, you have to have a relationship with your father, no matter what it is. But you have the relationship, we talk about it, and we pull it apart to build it for you. Because either, as a young girl, I become dependent on the boy or the guy that I'm dating because I didn't know my father's responsibility. Or I look to them and I see other people's fathers doing this for them. They're responsible for paying for that. They bought the car for money. They did that. So those ideas of how a man should be helped me down or led me to the relationships I went into. So I never held back. I never stopped my children. So if I'm not in a good place with him, he will honk the horn outside the house, and they will go down the stairs and run. And then they come home, whether they come home having eaten there or they're coming home to dinner's ready. It's not about. But if they get into a space and say, Mom, this happened and that, and I want to talk about it, then we talk about it in a safe environment. We don't talk about it so that you can make me know how bad your dad is, because my idea is how is it impacting me.
Yes.
So I put in place, we had Friday evenings where the girls can talk till early hours of the morning, because whatever they saw, whatever they experienced, we can build it. And I always make a point of saying, your father is your father. I'm the adult who went into that relationship. So if there's nothing that is negative for me and I've stepped out, I pray it doesn't negatively impact on you. Some will. We can't,
Was it
I can't put you to
50-50? Was it 50-50 or you got to
he didn't want me to go. So I haven't left him. When the children come to him, he had this idea of, plying them with all the resources that he had. And I didn't have, because now I don't have him. So he will make them feel that, you know what, if you live, and he did ask him a few times, if you lived with me, you have your own room, you can do this, you can do that, and listen, if you want to have takeaway free nights, you can do that, you can bring friends, your mom can't do this or can't do that. But as girls, eventually, they got to you and said, yes, Dad, it's okay, we're all right. We will come and visit you. And it does happen. It's very, very...
That's that competition that can happen.
Yes, it is. Very competitive.
Yeah. Because one parent can do more or less than the other, and you're almost forced into a competition of trying to prove which is going to be better or how much fun you're going to have. It's a horrible thing.
It is.
It is. And I don't want to be like I'm throwing everybody out there and I'm keeping silent about mine. My situation is such that I still struggle with it. Just like you said, it's kind of coaching the kids. And instead of coaching them even before the marriage was ended, before it's legally ended, like coaching them like, oh, if you stay with me, I'll do this, I'll do that, you get this, you get that. But if you choose to stay with your mom, you can do whatever you like, And it's funny because even then, this was even before I knew that I was going to file for divorce or we're going our separate ways. And when the kids come and the kids tell me, I'll just be like, Daddy's just messing with you. That we're all going to be together, And when it ended, I tell you, even up till tomorrow, it's still not talking with me. And
I think
for listeners out there, I think on our Facebook page, by the way, we have a Facebook page, Timothy. It's Single Again with LFA&BARBS. I made a whole list of communication apps that you can use to communicate with your partner. Even with the communication app that we use, he doesn't respond. And he has a way of, I would tell you, it's making co-parenting difficult. That sometimes I just feel like, why? Why are you making co-parenting difficult?
He's still angry.
He's still angry.
You know what I did? The beginning of this year, I sent a message like, hey, I want to know if you have any plans for the kids this year. And I want to beg you, please, let's make this co-parenting as seamless as possible this year.
He doesn't care. He's angry.
Yeah, and also I think also saying that is actually you telling me how to live my life. And you've already judged me that I'm the one making this co-parenting difficult. Sometimes some of the statements are, you're trying to help, but you're actually making it worse. If you I get you. I'm not saying no, but I get you. But when you say that, you are actually trying to direct it. And if a person is, and they're not listening, then my hearing, because my husband, I believe, has gone to the grave hating, and he told me so, that you have left me, and all my friends will see that my wife has left. I'll never forgive you until I die.
Wow.
I'll make a joke. Yeah, I'll make a joke of it. I'll make a laugh of it. Yes, there'll be days that he'll call me and we will talk, and then another day he'll call and say, why am I talking to this woman? You caused me all this wahala. So I think, when a person is, he dealt with it a bit better after years, but my children suffered because he was punishing them because of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you put your directives in there, you're not helping. It's okay. Do your bit positively.
Yeah.
And as long as you're doing your bit positively, if he says, I was supposed to come tomorrow, but something's come up, is it okay if I come the next day or today? Make your own arrangement. Don't scream, don't shout, and change it.
Okay.
He will
Yeah.
eventually see that actually what he's doing is just for his own self. And then it will get better, because sometimes we're trying to help people too much.
Well, you see that I have to jump in there where you said if you, let's say for example, both parents have a plan that okay, you're picking up the kids this week, something comes up and another parent comes and say, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it this weekend. Can you hold on to them? I can do next weekend. That is fine. But if it is becoming too much, remember we talked about boundary in some episodes already. If it's becoming too much, you have to draw your boundaries in co-parenting. Team, what do you think?
What is the responsibility of you as a single mother? What is this boundaries and the need for the person to be perfect? If he wasn't there, how would you cope with it? For me, this is how I did it. So if you don't turn up, you keep changing it, and you realize he is also human. You know, he's gonna see that by him repeatedly doing that, he's disappointed his children, because you told them that is coming today, that he didn't come, that is coming tomorrow, that he didn't come. So it's not on you. He's actually feeding the negativity to the children. You will have to change your plans and make sure your children are the, as you said, the grass. Your children are the immediacy and the most important. So whatever plans I have, sorry, you were taking me out to dinner. My children, I'm a single mother, something's come up, I need to be there for. He would then one day realize, when he says to the children, I'm going to be picking you up on Saturday, they'll get there, they're not ready because they weren't sure you'll take it. So we dig our own graves without us having to help. For me, the boundaries are with my relationship with him. That's where the boundaries, not on the parenting. Because
what's your take about that, team?
No, that's really good, and I definitely I stand with that. The boundaries are on us. You know, we have to put my strongest feelings is we cannot put our expectations on other people.
Others.
Like, if a person is not ready or not willing to co-parent with you or do anything for that matter, I can't expect you to do something that you're not ready to do or have no desire to do. So I have to get rid of the expectations and put the expectation always fully and completely on myself, and expect myself to do the right thing, the best thing for the children. And when it turned like she said, if he wasn't even in the picture, you wouldn't even have to. You would always have to find a way because you have no help. So you may just have to look at it as if you are a single parent, and every once in a while you have help. You might have to just adjust your thinking, because that's the way it is for now.
It's very difficult.
Go on, Barb.
No, I was going to say it's very difficult because separation comes from different places. The causes and the causations and the reasons for it are very different. So sometimes we are angry, sometimes we're just jealous that actually as soon as you left me, you got something, and I haven't been able to move on. So secretly I'm envious, and it comes through as anger. There was something my husband did was, this was years after we separated, because when my youngest was 18 months when the relationship broke, and my youngest was at the age of 11, I decided to go and live in Ghana for a bit, and he was there. He set up an organization there, and I knew he was, doing very well with his IT company. So I phoned him. I said, I'm coming. I've got some projects. I'm coming for a few years. Your daughter's coming with. He rushed and said, I can't wait. Bring me my child, my youngest baby. I want to do that. I want to do that. And we got there. And he had actually decided in his head to punish me. He's not going to pay for her school fees. Knowing full well, we discussed it, and he said, don't worry about it. I'll find the school and I'll sort it out. So for a whole year, when I got there, my whole savings went onto my child. And I know how he is. I didn't budge until that first year. And then in the summer of that year, she came home with her school invoice, and I said, okay, you're going to your father this weekend. Give him the invoice. And he's always known me to have this principle of first refusal. If the children need something, I will go to him and say, your child needs a laptop. For him to say, I don't want to get it for her. Because otherwise, if I get it and the child says, Mom bought it for me, why didn't you tell me? But maybe he never had any intentions of buying it.
Yeah.
And my daughter went and gave this invoice to him in front of his friends. As soon as they dropped her, she went upstairs to her dad's apartment and gave her the invoice. And from there, he couldn't refuse to pay. So sometimes we just have to do what we need to do, and they will try. Some might not come out, but at least for peace of mind is very important.
And honestly, I think in the journey of co-parenting, you have to know who you're dealing with. You have to have an understanding, a clear vision of who this person is. Because if you don't, huh?
Do we? I mean, like what Timothy said. I was with him. He was with his first for 5 years, and 3 children came out of that. In 5 years,
he was with his first for 9 months,
and then the second one was 5 years. So, do you have a total clarity of who this person is, especially as the relationship has broken down? It just means you didn't know each other well. So you're now going to have to look at the antiques and how, the sort of ideas they come about, how supportive they are, how they're willing to move forward. To me, sometimes it's in the separation that you learn to know who they are.
Yes, exactly.
Because we separated because you didn't know each other. It's actually when you step back and you're watching them.
Yeah.
It's how I always use this analogy of saying, oh, I know that man very well, and then you say, listen, this is the man that when he goes to the toilet, he doesn't put the seat down. And you're talking to his new woman, and she says, oh, really? He wipes it down and puts the lid down. Okay. I haven't had that. So who's ashamed? So it's actually understanding that how did you make that man or that woman think when you were with them? Because relationship, we respond to emotion, affect and effect. There is affect and effect. And if we don't understand that, we blame ourselves for no reason. I think I'm the only woman who says my friend can have my boyfriend if they want. Because I believe
you're not the only woman.
Yeah. I believe for as long as for me, if it didn't work for me, it doesn't mean it won't work for you.
It will work for you. Exactly.
It's not my son or my biological.
Yeah, it's not your property.
Yes, it's not.
Exactly. So I don't have any issue about my friend dating the man that just chucked me and picked you. It's okay because they didn't like what they saw in me, but they like what they
like what they saw in you. Exactly.
So, but I won't give you any advice on it. My whole back is not to give advice on you.
So I mean that's like the fact of life. Some people like apple, some people like it whole, some people like it sliced, some people like it seasoned with cream cheese, some people don't. Some people just like it plain. Some people like toast, some people don't. So if I don't see what I want in you, and I think I think in my own situation, that was what made me move on. Like, okay, it didn't work out. Even when everybody was coming, and I remember that co-parenting was really difficult initially. That even my eldest was I'm not going. It's got to a stage she's like, I'm not going, even up to now. But I always encourage her because I'm like, look, I said, even if I meet another man today, even if I remarry today, he cannot take the place of your father. You need to develop a relationship with your father. You need to work around it. You know him. And I know that a lot of women will be saying it's easier said than done. And that's why the three of us are here today to tell you that we know it's not easy. It's a process. And in case you're just stumbling in or not, just a single again with LFA and BARBS. We have the clarity doctor in the house, and we are tackling it. We are
Yes.
moving from blame to blooming, and we are encouraging you to write a vision and knowing it, because all of this will help you with clarity
Yes.
be able to co-parent appropriately. Take it away, Timothy. So, give us a final word on co-parenting. How to cope when it is difficult.
I would definitely, another piece is listen to your child.
You got it.
Listen to your child. Listen to what they're saying, and listen to what they're not saying. That will go a long ways. And do what you can to create a safe space for them to tell you what they need to say. But listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to them. Listen to them.
As much as possible, I try to encourage them to build a relationship with their father, even if you don't want to. And I make them understand, and I think every parent out there, whether you're the mother or the father, whether you have absolute custody or you share it 50-50, or you have 70-30, it is very important as a parent to let your children love the other parent.
And from me, just like I said, love your child the best way you can. If you love your child, you will help to make the co-parenting as smoothly as possible for them. Remember, it's not you. It's not about you. It's about the development and the enhancement of your child's life. Two are always better than one. Just because the two of you didn't work doesn't mean two in the child's life is not going to make their life more richer.
It takes two to tango. Love your child. Listen to your child. Listen to their spoken and unspoken word. And remember, go from blaming to blooming. Until you see you another day, another time, on Single Again with LFA Kisses. Love. Kiss yourself every day. Hug yourself. Love yourself. And remember, you have a community in us. We love you, and we hope you continue to shine. Take care now. Bye.
Indeed. Bye.